Dust choked the narrow streets of Cinderbrush, a sun-scorched frontier town built on broken dreams and rusted nails. The townsfolk gathered like buzzards around the platform in the square, their faces twisted with hate and fear. The sheriff leaned on the gallows beam, spitting tobacco as he nodded toward the trembling woman chained beside him. Accused of witchcraft, seducing good men with her eyes, and bringing drought with a cursed tongue, he growled. Town council voted. She ain't to hang. Instead, she's to be sold. Let someone else deal with her evil. Arabella Quinn stood tall despite the dirt caked on her face and the blood crusted at her lip. Her raven black hair hung in tangles, and the purple bruising on her wrist spoke of nights spent in a cell darker than coal. Her gray eyes met the crowd with equal parts fury and heartbreak. She wasn't a witch. She was a midwife, too good at her trade for jealous wives and bitter old men to tolerate. When crops failed and a preacher's son took his life after Arabella refused his advances, the town had found its scapegoat. The bidding started low. $1, then $2. No one wanted her. They just wanted her gone. Until he stepped from the shadows. Chapter 2, The Silent Buyer. He was tall, dust coat, and silent, a black hat low over his face. The stranger looked like a ghost risen from the prairie. He said nothing as he walked to the front, boots striking like a judge's gavel. The sheriff squinted. Speak up, mister. The man pulled out a coin purse and threw it into the sheriff's hands. It jingled heavy. Gold. She's mine, he said in a gravel-deep voice. I'll take her. The crowd murmured. The sheriff hesitated, but greed won. Arabella tried to read the man's face, but it was hard to see past the stubble and shadow. Still, there was no menace in his eyes, only a strange sort of sorrow. As he cut her chains, Arabella whispered, Why? He didn't answer. He simply took her gently by the arm and led her away as the town laughed and jeered behind them. Chapter 3. His name was Maddox Cole. They rode in silence for hours until the town was no more than a bad dream behind them. Only when stars pierced the purple horizon did the man speak. Name's Maddox. Maddox Cole. Arabella sat sideways on the saddle, too weak to ride on her own. She eyed him warily. And you just bought me. I saved you. Same thing. He gave a tight shake of his head. Not how I see it. I was in town for supplies. Heard the gossip. Watched you stand proud when they called you monster. That ain't no monster. That's a woman with fire. Arabella looked down, eyes stinging. They killed my mother the same way. Called her a witch too. I thought I'd escape. Foolish, huh? Maddox's jaw clenched. People hate what they don't understand. But they'll never touch you again. Chapter 4. The Broken Ranch. The ranch was 3 valleys over, nestled in the crook of Whispering Rock. It was vast, more land than most could dream of, but broken. Fences sagged, the well needed mending, and the only sounds were wind and emptiness. Arabella stayed from the porch as Maddox dismounted. This is yours. He nodded. Inherited. Been empty since my brother died in the war. I come back time to time. Never settled. You're rich, she said, half accusing, half awed. I was, he replied. Now I just got land and ghosts. They didn't speak again that night. Maddox gave her the main bedroom and slept in the barn. He cooked simple meals, spoke little, and treated her like a guest, not property. Days turned to weeks. She helped clean the house, cook with him, fix the well, and started a garden. In return, he taught her to shoot, to ride, and gave her silence when she needed it. They didn't talk about the town. They didn't talk about what they had both lost. But healing, like grass in spring, grows slowly. Chapter 5. Love in the Firelight. One evening, as twilight painted the sky, Arabella found Maddox sitting by the fire, turning a silver locket in his fingers. That haze? She asked, settling beside him. He nodded. My wife died in childbirth 5 years ago. Arabella looked at the fire. I've delivered babies. I've saved mothers others gave up on. But even I couldn't save mine when she was burned. He turned to her slowly. I know you're no witch, Arabella. I never thought you were. But you still bought me, she said, voice low. I was buying your freedom, Maddox replied, then looked away. But maybe I also needed something to believe in again. Someone who still fought when everything tried to break them. They sat in silence. But that night, when she rose to leave, he gently caught her hand. Stay, he said. She did. Chapter 6. Blood on the Wind. But peace never lasts in the West. One dry morning, Arabella went to town for salt and flour while Maddox stayed to mend the fence line. She covered her face, changed her name, and wore a bonnet to avoid attention. She failed. A drunk stumbled from the saloon and recognized her. Word spread like wildfire. The witch was back, and this time she seduced Maddox Cole, the old rancher with hidden gold. When she returned that afternoon, Maddox was waiting at the gate, eyes storm-dark. They're coming, he said. Probably tonight. Townsfolk, guns and torches. Arabella didn't flinch. Then we stand. He smiled faintly. I knew you'd say that. Chapter 7. Redemption in Lead and Fire. Night fell heavy and thick. The wind howled through the canyons like a wolf warning of blood. Maddox stood with a rifle on the porch. Arabella, armed with a shotgun, was beside him. They came just before midnight. 10 men, faces masked, torches in hand. Hand over the witch, Cole, someone shouted. She's cursed your land and your soul. Maddox stepped forward. You want her? You'll walk over my dead body. A pause. Then gunfire. The shootout was fierce. Maddox's sharp aim felled 3 before they reached the gate. Arabella dropped another with a blast of her shotgun, her hand steady despite her racing heart. But one bullet found Maddox's side. He fell with a groan, clutching his ribs. Arabella screamed, dragged him inside, and barricaded the door. She tore fabric for his wound, her hands bloody. Stay with me, she whispered. You hear me? You don't get to die now. Outside, fire lit the walls. The barn blazed first, then crept toward the porch. She stood with her last shell in the chamber. And then a shout, hooves! From the north, riders charged in, local ranchers who respected Maddox, who'd watched from afar but never interfered. Led by a blacksmith named Jonas and a preacher with a guilty conscience, they chased off the attackers and doused the fire. The ranch still stood. Maddox lived. And Arabella saved it all. Chapter 8. The Wedding on the Hill. 6 months later, flowers bloomed across the ranch. A new barn stood tall. The house was painted. The garden thrived. Maddox healed slow, but he healed. Arabella never went back to town. She didn't need to. Folks came to her now, for healing, for wisdom, for apologies. And on a warm spring morning, beneath the whispering rock, Maddox took her hands. You're no witch, he said. You're the miracle this place needed. They married under the open sky, with wind as their witness. Epilogue, the fire still burns. Years later, children played on the ranch Maddox and Arabella built. People spoke of her not as a witch, but as the angel of whispering rock. She delivered babies, healed sickness, and taught girls never to bow to fae.